Hi, hello, vanakkam, and welcome back to yet another episode on Little's Law YouTube channel. So, today in this set of videos, we are going to see about what is network performance testing. So, this is going to be a lot of videos. So we are going to discuss about the basics of network performance testing, what are all the strategies that we follow for network performance testing, and what are all the tools, the process, and everything in and out. So mostly 360-degree of the network performance testing. So please don't forget to subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss any of the videos, and follow me on LinkedIn. So first, let us see what is network testing. And before that, let me tell you a difference, the basic difference between the web performance testing and the network performance testing, because this is very important to know before we even start to know about the network performance testing. Because without having a basic understanding of how network performance testing works and having the knowledge of only the web performance testing might bring a lot of confusion. So I would just try to break all those places, and then I will just tell you what is a web performance testing with an example, and I will tell you what are all the objectives of the web performance testing and what are all the objectives of the network performance testing. So first, let's see. Let me start an example about what is, how does the web performance testing work. So imagine you are a customer who are visiting a restaurant. So, web performance testing is like evaluating your experience as a customer in the restaurant, and it focuses on how smoothly and efficiently the restaurant serves you and other customers. So, here it's like how are we relating it to performance, the web performance testing. So, the scenario of a restaurant, we are going to compare it with the web performance testing so that we can understand how does it work, and then I will tell you another example of network performance testing so that you can understand the difference between both of them. So in this example, so you are visiting a restaurant. So in this scenario, web performance testing is like assessing how quickly the restaurant staff takes your order, and how fast he brings you the food, and how attentive they are to your needs. So basically, we normally go to a restaurant, we give our order, and we will wait for the server, the one who will serve us the food. So we'll wait for them to serve the order, and then we will check how does it work. So if the restaurant is well managed, we will have a pleasant experience with minimal waiting time for our order and friendly service. So same is the case with web performance testing. So we check how fast a website loads, that is how fast our item that is served, and how responsive it is to our actions. Like for example, when we click on a button, we have to check how responsive it is, how quick it is, and whether it can handle many visitors at once without slowing down. So this is how the web performance testing works. So now you could understand. So the basic thing about web performance testing is how fast a website loads, how responsive the application or the web page it is to our actions, basically like clicking of a button, and whether it can handle a loads of visitors at once without slowing down. So now if we move to the network performance testing. So imagine I'm sending a letter through a postal service. So network performance testing is like evaluating the efficiency and reliability of the postal service in delivering my letter. And the focus is on how well the network infrastructure transfers my data, which is in this case my letter, from one place to another. So that is the basic thing. So the basic thing about network performance testing is the focus is on how well the network infrastructure transfers my data from one place to another. So in this case, when I take you through the real example, so I'm sending a letter, and the network performance testing is like assessing how quickly the letter arrives at its destination, whether it gets lost or damaged during the journey, and how stable and consistent the postal service is in delivering letters. So in network performance testing, we check factors like the bandwidth, which is basically how much data the network can handle at once, the latency, which is how long it takes for data to travel back and forth, and the packet loss, the final one, which is whether some data packets get lost during transmission or what kind of actions that are happening during the transmission. So basically, the network performance testing is something like a postal service where I send a letter and I should check whether the letter reaches the destination. So during the transfer, I should check the factors like the bandwidth, which is how much data the network can handle at once. The second factor is the latency, which is how long it takes for the data to travel back and forth. And finally, the packet loss, which is whether some data packets get lost during transmission. So now we will see what are all the metrics that, or what are all the aspects that we check during web and the network performance testing. So before we move further into the details of network performance testing, I will take you through the differences between web performance testing and network performance testing, because we all know even in web performance testing we have different types of performance testing, like the load testing, the stress testing, the soak, the smoke. So even they all come under the category of performance testing. They all have their own objectives. So the same case is with the web performance testing and the network performance testing. So here, the web performance testing, we all know, focuses on evaluating how well a website or a web application performs for its users. So it is like checking how fast and smoothly a website loads and how fast it works when we visit it. So web performance testing looks at various aspects that affect our experience while we use websites. So the first thing is the page load speed. So this page load speed is something which measures how quickly the website's pages appear on our screen when we click on a link or when we enter the website address. So the next part is the response time. So the response time, we all know it refers to how fast the website responds to our actions, such as clicking a button or filling a form. And next comes the user load handling. So when we do a basically a load test or any performance test, so it checks how the website handles many users accessing it at the same time, and this makes sure that it does not slow down or crash under heavy traffic. And finally, we have the scalability. So this aspect of scalability examines if the website can handle more users as it grows in popularity without losing speed or responsiveness. So on the other hand, what does the network performance testing talks about? So the network performance testing is all about evaluating the underlying infrastructure that connects all the computers and devices together to make the internet work. So think of it as checking how well the roads and highways that basically our internet data travels on are functioning. So network performance testing looks at different aspects related to data transfer, such as the bandwidth. So the first aspect is the bandwidth. So the bandwidth is a metric which measures the capacity of the network to carry the data. So any data that we send will be carried through the network, and this bandwidth testing is a metric or is a process of checking how wide the roads are to allow more cars to travel through at once. So in this performance testing scenario, in this case, we are checking how much amount of data or how more data can be traveled once at once. And next metric is the latency. So when it comes to latency, it is the time which is taken for data to travel from my computer to a server, which is basically when I hit a request, it goes from my browser to the server and then it comes back. So this is similar to the time it takes for a letter to reach someone and get a response back. So when it's more about our example. So I'm sending a letter to someone and then they respond it back to me. So that is what the latency talks about. So latency is the time it takes for the data to travel from my computer to a server and then back to my computer again. And then the next metric is the jitter. So what is jitter? So jitter is about the stability of data transfer, and it is like checking if the data packets arrive consistently and on time, or if they sometimes arrive too early or they arrive too late. So that is what the jitter. So jitter is basically about the stability of data transfer. And then final metric is the packet loss. So packet loss is when some data packets get lost or when they don't reach the destination. So it's like losing or losing a few pages from a letter when I'm sending. So these are the four major metrics when it comes to network performance testing. So they are the bandwidth, which measures the capacity of the network to carry data, and then the latency, which is the time it takes for the data to travel from my computer to a server and then coming back to me, and then the jitter, which is about the stability of data transfer, and then the packet loss, which is some thing which is like when I send data pack when the data packets which I send has got lost or if they don't reach their destination. So it's like losing a few pages from the letter I'm sending. So basically from this video onwards, please don't consider any of the web performance testing metrics. We all are going to discuss about only these network performance testing, the tools, the process of testing these metrics. So with that I come to an end. We will discuss about the next step of the network performance testing in the next video. So please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, the Little Slaw YouTube channel, like, share, and comment your questions and feedback. And if you are performing network performance testing in your team, please do comment that in the comment section. Or in case if you want to try some tool and if you want to learn some tool, please do comment in the comment section. So until I meet you in another interesting video, it's bye bye from Vasan Shanmugam and Little Slaw.